Most of the news out of the 2015 Nevada legislature is expanding education and the creation of new and higher taxes. There is also a significant push to reform public employee retirement and collective bargaining. Assemblyman Randy Kirner is leading the way.
With regards to PERS, I think there's a lot of dynamics at work. I think the PERS organization resists change of any kind, and they're throwing up every little roadblock they can to make it look bad. Even though we go through actuarial proof that says we could save hundreds of millions of dollars, stop the unfunded liability from growing, and unfunded liability is really, our PERS system really is guaranteed by the taxpayers. So when that unfunded liability, which is more than doubled, more than tripled, more than quadrupled, more than 5 times since the turn of the century, you have to pay attention to these things. The unions, the retired public employees, the PERS organization themselves have sent out messages to people saying resist this. So when you see committee meetings with lots of people behind me, really all of those are state employees, public employees, union people. They're not the normal everyday citizen, even though everybody's a taxpayer, but they're not the normal everyday public sector. First of all, you have to recognize that the state employees do not have Social Security. So the retirement plan that we have, the pension plan, really takes 2 legs of the so-called 3-legged stool. The Social Security accompanies retirement or pension plan, and then personal savings would be the third. The first 2 are covered by PERS. So when you go to work I used to work at IGT, for example, we used to contribute to a company pension plan, which is like a 401k in that case, and everybody contributed to Social Security. In the state, let's take Washoe County School District. 28% beginning in July 1st will go into their retirement system. Because of contract negotiations over the years, employees have, quote, given up salary increases so that the school district pays their portion. So that's in lieu of salary increases. So it's up to 28%. So if you were to take 6.2% off, which is what I paid when I was working, that leaves 22% is going into the retirement plan. Of course, I'm carrying a very big bill. I think there are 5 bills between ourselves and the Senate. For sure, some of those the governor will sign, some we don't know about. But my 182 bill includes a number of, it's called the Omnibus Bill, and it includes a number of features that really only tries to level the playing field. It's not a union Armageddon, as they would claim. It just really levels the playing field. It says, for example, taxpayers should not pay for union members doing union work on taxpayer time, taxpayer dollars. That seems perfectly reasonable to me. It takes some levels of management out of the collective bargaining, because like the police chief right now, for example, in Reno, is the only member of the police force that's not eligible to be in the union. All of his management team are all in a union. Well, we need to get balance back on that.
Representatives of public employees, firemen, and law enforcement also have opinions about the reforms.
Well, let's start with AB 190, which is the PERS bill. The PERS bill is still out there. It's still in Ways and Means. We've had one hearing on that, and that one would create a hybrid system. We're totally opposed to that. We did bring in a leading expert in the United States, an economist, on how well our system operates. It's best in class. It's best defense and hygiene. Our system is working fine, and we don't want that changed. That's the first one. So that's PERS. And we've got a PERS bill coming up this afternoon on SB 12. It's my understanding that AB 3, which was Randy Kirner's original bill to add more people onto the PERS board, that he has put an amendment on that, and that amendment is going to be talked about today. That bill was heard in the first of the session in Government Affairs and was voted, I believe 99% of those on that committee voted to kill that bill, and it's been reactivated this afternoon. So that's another PERS bill that we're concerned a lot about. And then we move over to the areas of collective bargaining. There are several collective bargaining bills, but his number 1 bill is AB 182, and that bill virtually, in our opinion, destroys collective bargaining in the state of Nevada as we know it. And he does that in a variety of ways. First of all, by taking release time out, which we negotiate, by taking away the right to have dues deductions, and by making it to the individual associations to go to individual employees and members to get checks from them, rather than having it deducted from the local governments, which is what it normally is right now. And the reason it does that right now is the same way they do United Way, the American Cancer Society, a number of insurance systems. So we're kind of opposed to that. He basically eliminates bargaining for supervisors, and we crossed that bridge in 2011. And his bill right now takes out pretty much everybody out from collective bargaining that's a supervisor, and he's virtually gutted all the work that we did in 2011. So you move on from that until you get to the point of the Evergreen Clause. Well, the Evergreen Clause, we're covered in SB 241, and how we've dealt with that right now. The Evergreen Clause, in effect, keeps a contract open, but really keeps it status quo, and that's been the intent. And his bill virtually eliminates the Evergreen Clause in the way we know it right now, which means that a contract would basically go away until you negotiated a new one. Now, he claims it doesn't have any impact on new employees or current employees. It has impact on all employees right now. His bill, if I'm not mistaken right, because I'm not sure what amendments are being played with that right now, but it would virtually change the way we would go forward with collectively bargaining. It changes the way that last best offer, binding arbitration works, mediation, and the like. That's another problem with the bill. And I know I'm missing something, but there are a whole bunch of areas. He changes the way that the amount of monies that we can negotiate right now from currently monies that are available in the general fund at 8.3% for an ending fund balance. His bill would now increase that. He changed it to 25%. Now, in my vernacular, that's regressive bargaining, because his original bill was at 16.6, which is what the Government Financial Office Administration says it should be out, and he's raised that now to 25%, which is consistent with two other bills that are currently sitting in Ways and Means. That's AB 249, which is a Assemblyman Wheeler bill, and I believe SB 168. And that bill is being heard this afternoon. So those are basically the bills that we're concerned with that Assemblyman Kirner had.
The collective bargaining and retirement reforms will most likely be part of any final deal. At the Nevada Legislature, Theresa Catalani for the Stealth Reporter.